Alright, today we are going to learn how to take apart a Weiser lock using a Weiser shim. Now normally what you would do would be to take the lock off the door. You would take this spindle here in the back, the square small spindle. You would yank on it, see how it extends just a tad bit. It's spring loaded. Yank on that. Hold the lock with the tailpiece or the spindle extended. You would turn the key to about 4 o'clock and the whole core comes out of the lock. I'll put this back together by sliding the core back in with the tailpiece still extended or the spindle still extended. Turn the key right side up and let go of that spindle. That's going to lock this core back into place. Now, a professional locksmithing tip is use a Weiser shim. Now, you can use the shim. This will allow you to take the core out of the lock without taking the lock off the door. So it's a really cool thing to have. You can get these online. They don't sell them at really locksmith shops because they've been discontinued, but you can find them if you search around online. Again, it's called a Weiser shim. And you've seen this in one of my other videos, but we are going to use the Weiser shim today. I'll show you guys how to use it. So all you have to do, let's pretend this lock is still on the door. We're going to stick the key in. The key only rotates so far. We're going to stick the Weiser shim in. Right here, right on the side of the key here, like that. We're going to stick it in and push it in all the way, as far as it'll go. If you look at this tailpiece, see how it's, what the Weiser shim does is it pushes that tailpiece. So it basically pulls it for you without having to take the lock off the door. It's really cool. So we're going to push this tailpiece as far as it'll go. We're going to turn this key to 4 o'clock. And ideally this should come out without having to take this off the door. Try to do this again, sorry. It's not really working for me this time. Let's try this again. Sometimes it takes a little fiddling around with this Weiser shim to get it into the right placement here, but try this again. Stick the key in all the way. Stick my Weiser shim right down the side of the key right here. Push as hard as I can. Turn this key to about 4 o'clock. And there we go. I got the core popped out. This one's giving me a little trouble, but it usually works pretty well on most locks. So, and then when you put it back together, you basically do the same thing. You have the key all the way in the lock, all the way in the core. You have the key turned to about 4 o'clock. You slide it in. You let that shim push that tailpiece back through the lock. And there you go. Turn the key right side up. Take the key and the shim out. And there you go. It locks back together. So we can actually take this core out of the lock using the Weiser shim without having to take the lock off the door. So that's a pro tip for you. Like I said, I had a guy who said the screws were stripped out, so we had to drill out the screws to get the lock off the door, when all he really had to do was use a Weiser shim to get that core out. So that's it.